Thanks to ZHIYUN for sponsoring this video. I talk a lot about different exciting cameras on this channel, from Fujifilm, Leica and even RED. You might have been able to tell I just love talking about fun and unique cameras, but today let's switch it up a bit and finally talk about my primary workhorse camera that I use to make every single video on this channel, the Sony A7IV.
Dress up the shit inside. You're part of the rainbow. It's your right. Now let it all show. Pave the way for the ones behind. We'll be the sun, not a gray cloud. Stand out.
The Sony A7IV is my primary photography and videography camera. So why have I never talked about it? Simply because it's boring. It's just too good. People would rather see me talk about some 10-year-old camera they've never even seen in person, because there's just more intrigue there than when I talk about yet another mirrorless camera with a black body, black lenses, and a million times more processing power than mankind needed to go to the moon. They just feel sterile, and people don't click on those videos. At least they don't on my channel. And to be honest, I totally get it. When Canon or Nikon or Sony bring out another camera that looks just like the last 5 cameras they released, I don't even watch a video about it, and this is kind of my job next to university. Mainly because I already know it'll have a few more megapixels, minor spec bumps in every area, and AI autofocus that'll overthrow the government if we make it any better. Yeah, somebody should really do something about that. I don't want to have to pay taxes to the next camera Sony releases. These just aren't cameras that have the same attraction or soul that older cameras have. Many people feel like those cameras sterilize an otherwise very creative process, and that's why a huge number of photographers in the past years, including me, has been gravitating towards film photography and older digital cameras, trying to find something that is fun and has character. Pretty much the same thing is happening in Hollywood, where directors are grabbing 60-year-old dirt cheap lenses for movies that have enough budget to buy your entire family's lineage. But there's something to be said about these cameras. They might not be fun and quirky in the way other cameras are, like a Fujifilm X100 or a Leica M camera. It might look like every year camera companies release the same exact thing with just slightly better internals, but if you sum up those changes over the past 2 decades of constantly iterating on every single thing that goes into making a camera, you get some truly insane improvements.
Dress up the shit inside. You're part of the rainbow. It's your eyes. Let it all show. Pave the way for the ones behind. Be the sun, not a gray cloud. Stand out. I said, be the sun, not a gray cloud. Stand out.
By the way, all of the images you're seeing in this video have been edited with my Lightroom presets. If you feel like helping me keep this channel running while also getting some really nice presets for yourself, I'm gonna leave a link with a hefty discount for you in the description. One of the most obvious improvements over the past years, of course, is resolution. Just 17 years ago, there were photographers that were spending 25, $1,000 on a Hasselblad digital medium format camera that has 31 megapixels and looked like it was about to break the Geneva Convention in the middle of your studio. The Sony A7 IV has 33 megapixels and costs just about $2,400. Of course, you could also get a used Sony A7R IV for around $2,000 that has double the resolution of that $25,000 Hasselblad, which is just insane. But for me, 33 megapixel really hits the sweet spot between resolution and file size. Pretty much forever, still photography and motion picture cameras were two very different things. But one of the biggest changes in the past 2 decades was the birth of the hybrid camera. And the A7 IV truly is the perfect hybrid camera for me. Compared to the A7 III, the A7 IV has a lot of improved video functionality, just from a usability standpoint alone. Switching between photo and video can be done in a matter of moments, and using the custom recall modes means you can instantly have all of the settings right where you need them. It's actually mind-blowing how good Sony made the video on this camera. A mere 10 years ago, if you wanted to shoot 4K at higher frame rates with good dynamic range, you would have to spend 35,000 items from the dollar menu on one of these things. A proper cinema camera. They filmed The Hobbit on one of these.
We have 48 RED Epic cameras, and they're on 17 3D rigs.
Now, 10 years later, the A7 IV shoots beautiful 4K at 60 FPS, and the 30 FPS footage is downscaled from 7K, all while still costing less than the cinema camera's monitor used to cost. Yes, the 4K 60 has a crop. I've heard from people that really dislike it, but personally, the crop doesn't bother me at all, and sometimes the extra reach it gives me is really nice. But what makes the A7 IV literally one of the world's best cameras for video is its dynamic range. Not a lot of people know this, but according to the CineD database, the dynamic range it offers in S-Log3 is in spot 8 out of all cameras they have ever tested. It outperforms multiple cinema camera offerings from Canon, Blackmagic, and even RED. Literally, the only Sony cameras that outperform it are the Venice and Burano, not the A7S III, not the FX3, and not the FX6. That's just bonkers when you consider that the A7 IV is a fraction of the price of every other camera in the top 15 of this list. How's that even possible? I don't know, but I know the footage looks damn good.
Underestimated truly, that was really since a kid. Now I'm playing in the bigger leagues, yeah, I really do my thing. I got confidence like Rocky, yes, I'm coming for the kill. Pull up like I'm Mr. Tyson, people thinking that I'm ill, but I really got the power, man, I really got the skills. Cause I was focused on my craft, I was honing on my drills. I was really holding on my drills, I made a promise to the family, I make a couple mil. I said that I would do it, that was really getting real. Put my foot up on the pedal when I'm climbing up the hill, so I gotta do a lot, but I cannot do a little. Gotta reach to the top and it cannot be the middle. I believe in what I got and I know that I'm willing to lay down my life, that's how strong I just feel it.
That sequence you just saw was filmed in S-Log3 and color graded in DaVinci Resolve, with the A7 IV being mounted on the new CinePEER WEEBILL 3E gimbal by ZHIYUN. And I want to thank ZHIYUN for sponsoring today's video. I said earlier that cameras had years of iterative improvements that really added up. Well, the same is true for gimbals, and I had no idea. I bought a basic gimbal in 2019 when the entirety of YouTube, including me, was going through its travel bro era, and that gimbal is what I have used ever since. But the new WEEBILL 3E is so much better, it's like not even funny. The ergonomics are a huge improvement. It's comfortable to hold even on long shoots. It has customizable buttons and an OLED screen, so you can actually look at a menu for changing settings. My old gimbal didn't have a screen and needed like a PlayStation 2 cheat code style button input if I wanted to change anything. Having this customizable dial on the back is super helpful because you can actually set it to control your camera settings. For example, on this shoot, the lighting was changing constantly as we were driving around, so I set the gimbal's back dial to my camera's aperture. This means I could quickly adjust the exposure without having to fiddle around with the camera. Another awesome feature is that you can take full control of the gimbal using an app, and you can even make the gimbal follow your phone's movements. It supports a 3 kilogram payload, which is really impressive because in the past only higher-end gimbals supported that much weight, and this means you can actually balance it with a 24-70 f2.8 on there. The WEEBILL 3E also has an up to 16-hour battery life, and you can easily transition from horizontal to vertical shooting, which obviously is a must if you're filming social media content. It's honestly honestly just really impressive how good budget gimbals have gotten nowadays, and of course I'm gonna leave a link down below if you wanna learn more. Okay, let's get back to the A7 IV. If you're coming from an older camera, being able to have super high quality photos and video like that in a single camera really is a game changer. And I don't use that term lightly. People tend to throw it around a lot.
Bro, this toothpaste is a game changer.
All of what I have just talked about, the resolution, the frame rates, the usability, those don't inherently change an image, but modern cameras have had so many other improvements that allow you to get shots that were literally impossible 10 or 20 years ago. I don't mean the fact that cameras have gotten smaller and lighter, allowing you to mount them in much tighter spaces, or the fact that battery life has drastically improved. No, I specifically mean the introduction of stabilized sensors, improvements to real-time autofocus tracking, and of course the mind-blowing improvements to low-light performance over the past decade. The fact that I can sit here and film myself with the lens set to f1.8, being able to 100% trust the autofocus of the A7 IV, that no matter in what stupid way I move around while talking shit into the camera nobody cares about, the camera will just keep my eye in focus the entire time. The A7 IV has made filming these videos by myself so much more seamless, and autofocus like that was unthinkable 10 or 20 years ago. Shots like this one with the autofocus tracking my friend on his bike here while he's coming towards the camera were super difficult to get back then, even with a whole crew including a dedicated person pulling focus. You can now easily get shots like this on your own, with a tripod with nobody operating the camera. For the past century or so, having little available light when taking photos meant you had to get out a flash. But the low light performance of the A7 IV is so good that it can basically see in the dark. Not only have I taken handheld images with a shutter speed of a third of a second or even half a second due to the IBIS being excellent, I have also taken photos and videos north of 16,000 ISO and gotten usable results. Especially with denoising in Lightroom or DaVinci Resolve, all bets are off anyways. Actually, this video isn't even about the A7 IV. It's about the democratization of photography and videography. Of course, the A7 IV isn't cheap. $2,400 is a lot of money, but it's a far cry away from what people used to pay to get similar quality. Modern prosumer cameras have gotten so damn good that there just aren't any excuses left anymore. Gear has never mattered less. In total contradiction to that, I have a lot of cameras, and if I'm really honest with myself, I don't need any of them, because the A7 IV is just exceptional at everything it does. If anything, my work would probably improve if I sold everything else. Okay, that's it. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.